guys, it's Suzanne, and it's Friday. I'm pretty sure today's the 4th of July. Not actually sure because I haven't been at work. Things are still really slow in the emergency room. Slowly picking up though, and our volumes are going back to normal, so I should have more time in the ER. But I have really enjoyed working with you guys and putting together these webinars, and I intend to continue doing so at least once or twice a month for as long as I possibly can. This is really my passion, which is teaching. A friend of mine contacted me yesterday about a comment about opening schools in the fall and wanting to understand some of the information and the data that's out there, and so I spent 10-15 minutes teaching her about basic biostatistics in a way that was kind of interactive and fun for her, and she gave me really good feedback and basically said that it was really helpful for me to show her the step-by-step method to understanding the data, and she really appreciated it. So that's kind of my goal with this group, is to be able to teach the science-based and numbers-based concepts behind different aspects of triathlon training so that you guys can understand it. The science is really my forte. I love math. I also love the technique, anatomy, and biomechanics oriented portions of different topics. So that's my main goal, is to make sure that I can bring those things to you guys in a way that is informational, entertaining, and a way that you can help remember it and hopefully teach it to your coaches or your athletes. So with that being said, I wanted to tell you a story. Mark Rauderkus is one of our members here. He's a swim coach, and he's been doing programs for the city of Pittsburgh youth for a long time. And this summer, because the Pittsburgh public pools are closed, he's doing a virtual camp with these kids, and he's looking for stories. So I'm going to send him the story that I'm about to tell you, and I wanted to practice it on you guys. So this is a story about a near-death experience in open water. I survived, obviously, and I hope you guys can learn from it. About 8 years ago, I started working for a company that would hire me on a contract basis, send me to Hawaii, and teach open water swim camps. It was fantastic. The first time I went, it was as an assistant, and I learned a lot just from the logistics, how to work in open water, the challenges of teaching in deep water, different kinds of fears that people have in open water. And the first time that I went there, this was to Kona, I had witnessed the damage that the tsunami from Japan had created. Now, there wasn't extensive widespread damage in this town in Kona, but there was a lot of damage to various buildings, and the King Kamehameha Hotel, which is right on the bay where the Ironman starts, had extensive damage in their lobby. It was all on the first floor. The water didn't come up too high, but the first 1 or 2 times I was there, they were constantly remodeling, and so I had this association with the tsunami every time I went there and had the opportunity to stay in this hotel. So one course, the camp had finished, all the students had gone home, and it was my co-instructor and I that were there for another 1 or 2 days just enjoying things, and we decided to go out. It was, I think it may have been June 1st or May 1st. I don't recall what the exact date was, but it was a gorgeous day, as are most days in Hawaii. The two of us went out together and we swam to the half-mile turnaround buoy. When you get out to that buoy, it's a couple hundred yards from the shore, and if you go straight into the shore, it's rocky and there's tons of waves, and you can't really swim up there. If you turn around the opposite way and go back to the beach where we went in, it's a half-mile swim. And that's going to take, 8, 10, 12 minutes, depending on how fast a swimmer you are, but it takes a decent chunk of time. She's a lot more fit than I am. She competes in the Xterra World Championships, and so I always have a hard time keeping up with her. On this particular day, we were swimming, and we both heard this piercing alarm. It was so loud that you could hear it underwater. At first, I thought my ears were ringing, and I went under the water just to kind of check things out, and I heard it equally as loud under the water. I stopped swimming, I popped my head up, and I looked around, and she had stopped as well. She heard it, and this alarm just continued. It was seriously loud. I don't know if you've ever had a whistle in open water and tried to whistle someone down. They're extremely hard to hear. So we figured out that this was the tsunami alarm. Now, I mentioned before I had seen the damage that the tsunami had created several years before, and I knew that it was a potentially serious consideration in that area. All these images of the Christmas tsunami from Southeast Asia went through my head, and I'm thinking, here we are, half a mile from shore. There's this tsunami alarm going off. We have to get back to shore as quickly as possible. Sometimes these alarms go off, and there are several hours before the wave arrives, but we had no idea. So we turn around and start swimming to shore, and I couldn't understand why the kayakers that were out weren't responding, why the boaters that were out, and I just assumed that they were more familiar with the area, that they'd heard these alarms before and knew that they had time to get back to shore, and they were in a faster mode of transportation than we were. So we turned around, swim as fast as possible back to shore, and the whole time I'm chasing her. I'm trying to keep up with her. This is someone who's competing at the World Championships in Xterra, and I'm full bore max swimming as fast as I possibly could without falling apart. The whole time, all these thoughts going through my mind about the tsunami coming. What would it be like to be in the water? Are we safer in the water? Normally, I'm a little bit sketched out by the fish that are around us, little fish balls swimming underneath us, and occasionally you'd see, a nurse shark, and there have been tiger sharks spotted in that area, so my whole mind is just racing. Meanwhile, swimming as fast as I can to get back to shore. We finally make it back to shore and get out and look around, and everyone's being really, really casual, like not a big deal. We went to the shack where people rent kayaks from and said, hey, we just heard this tsunami alarm. What's going on? Nobody seems too concerned. And they said, oh, that's our monthly alarm. It goes off the first of every month. So we had been out in the water not realizing that it was the first of the month, and the tsunami alarm goes off every month as a test. And that alarm sure worked. We had no trouble hearing it. But what I learned about that experience was, number one, to be familiar with local regional customs for safety testing. But more importantly for me personally, I learned about my state of mind and my physical performance under an extremely stressful situation. I swam as fast as I possibly could for a half mile. I'm sure I set a PR for open water swimming because I feared for my life. I thought we were going to die in that water. Once we got out of that water and settled down, it was funny, but while we were in the water, it was not very funny. So that's my story. I'm going to share that story on a video and send it to Mark to use with his kids. If you guys have any stories about swimming, they can be funny stories, they can be serious stories, anything that you want. He's looking for these 5-minute stories to share with his kids, again, because they're holding swim camp without a pool. So he's looking for ways to entertain and educate the kids during their camp. Well, I'm going to have a webinar next Thursday. I posted an announcement. It's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be about swimming. So sign up for that, register for it. You will get a link for the live webinar. You can ask all kinds of questions that you want. It's going to be about swimming metrics. So it's next Thursday, I believe July 8th or 9th. You can check the post. That's it. Hope things are going well.